Tree saddles are super popular right now, and there's many companies that make them. We have a list of all the companies that I'm aware of that are making them right now, and it's part of our tree saddle policy, and we'll go over that at the end of the presentation. But there's some basic parts that you need to be aware of, and they're all pretty much the same. There's a piece of fabric or mesh that you sit your butt into when you're hunting. There's a pair of leg straps. There's a waist strap, usually with a buckle, and there's 2 loops on both sides of your hips. So one set of loops is for the lineman's rope. The larger set of loops is where you connect your bridge, and the bridge is where you connect the tether to the tree, and that's actually what supports you when you're hunting. All of these also have manufacturer's information on their tags of when they were made. Here is a hunter putting on his tree saddle, and as you can see, you kind of put your legs through the leg straps. You can also have them undone and fasten them once you get it in place too. It's kind of hunter preference, but you have leg straps, you have a waist strap, you get it nice and snug on the waist strap. That's important. Leg straps aren't as important. You can leave those a little bit loose, and actually it's more comfortable to do that, so most hunters will leave those loose. This hunter uses a ring of steps that he ratchets around the tree, so he's just putting that in a convenient spot right around his waist, so he's got that as he goes up the tree and can put it around the tree. And then he's got his backpack, he's got his climbing method strapped onto his backpack, and he's ready to hit the woods. So as coordinators, it's important to note that this is how you're going to see a tree saddle hunter walking into their stand. It's a huge advantage to be able to walk into your hunting location wearing, your basically your tree stand. A tree stand is a metal one, is big and clunky and can be noisy, and a tree saddle is basically a pound or two, and it's totally silent. So one of the many reasons why it's really gained in popularity over the last few years. As you'll see here, our hunter's going to select a tree, and he's going to select a pretty good tree. Some of what you may have heard from saddle hunters in the past, if you talk to any, is they'll say things like, "I can hunt out of any tree I want," and that's not really true. You do maybe have some more options, but it's still best to be hunting out of a reasonably straight tree and no smaller than really the diameter of a basketball. That's probably the perfect size. And if you got a tree that's leaning, it's always going to pull you to the downward side. It's gravity, and getting pulled to that side and trying to shoot at a deer is very awkward, and it'll definitely affect your shooting mechanics. So hunting out of a tree that's too small in diameter too will cause the tree to move every time the saddle hunter moves. So if it's too small, it's going to be waving around like crazy as that tree saddle hunter is trying to get a shot at a deer. And obviously that increased movement is going to alert the deer, and we want to shoot deer that are 20 yards or less and relaxed. So let's talk a minute about tree stand setting day. So the day we hang stands, the day before a hunt, we all know that we don't want to be hanging stands in the dark. That's why we usually, in all the MBRB hunts, we do it the day before. And as coordinators, you set up the time, you get your hunters out there to hang their stands in the daylight and get in, get out, come back the next day and hunt. So tree saddle hunters, there's no difference. They got to get out there and hang their stuff too. As you can see, Andrew is hanging his climbing method. He's using some tree sticks, and he's got to do that. He's got to have a platform. He's going to use a ring of steps. Other tree saddle hunters might choose a platform that's made out of metal that's just way smaller than a regular tree stand. So they have to do that stuff. Don't fall for it if a saddle hunter tries to pull this Well, I just kind of hang and hunt because I got this tree saddle, and I can just go up the tree and start hunting. You can't do that in the dark. It's no different than hanging a stand when it comes to that. So as Andrew's going up the tree, there's a couple things I want to point out. One is he's going to be using a lineman's belt, and that's what he's putting on right now. And he's using a Ropeman 1 instead of a press-it cord. So that orange device right there that you can see, that is a Ropeman 1. You can use a press-it cord too, or the press-it cord, however you want to say it. The advantage of the Ropeman 1 is you can operate that with one hand. The thing with the press-it cord, to adjust the length of your lineman's belt, you need to use both hands. And you'll see that when you're climbing a tree and you can use one hand to adjust that rope, it's a lot easier, it's a lot quicker, and it's a lot safer. So here's just a quick clip on how a prusik knot works, how it bites onto the rope to make an adjustment. So for the prusik knot, to adjust it, it's a two-handed operation to make it slide on your lineman's belt. But as soon as you put any weight on it, it locks right down on that rope and won't move. So the disadvantage is you gotta use two hands to make it slide through there. And that's where the Ropeman comes into play to make it easier. And now here is a closer look at the Ropeman 1. Ropeman 1 is an ascending device, and this device isn't used for ascending for us. It's just to make the length of a rope change from shorter to longer is really all we're doing. And to put it on, you just scissor it on there. There's different types. There's the Ropeman 1, which everybody uses because it's not as hard on the rope. A Ropeman 2 actually has teeth, and it digs into the rope and will destroy the rope after time. Then you put your beaner through there. Put that through, and you put it through your lineman's belt loop. Now you have a one-handed operation. So now you can adjust it, make it shorter, make it longer with one hand. And you just kind of move away from the tree with your butt, and then the rope will slide through easily. Let go, and it grabs onto the rope to whatever length you want. And again, you got stoppers on the end to stop it from sliding all the way through. So here we are, we're catching up with Drew again, and he is at his climbing height, and now he's adjusting his ring of steps. He's got them on a ratchet system. And there's lots of options out there. There's platforms, and there's all kinds of different platforms. And the advantage of a ring of steps, you can put steps 360 degrees around a tree. A platform is just on one side. So a lot of saddle hunters not only like that they're saving weight, but they have more options on where to step as compared to a platform. And sometimes platform hunters will put some kind of step on the backside of the tree too, so they can have more shooting options also. So now Andrew is doing a very important safety step. You'll see that he's getting his tether, the section of rope that he's actually gonna be hanging from while he's hunting. He's gonna get that all secured to the tree. Just put the loop through, pull it all the way through, and then he'll take his carabiner, and once he gets that all situated, he'll take his carabiner and he'll connect that to the bridge on his saddle, and then he'll lock that carabiner. Then he's going to cinch up the rope, kind of take the slack out of it, and he's going to make good and sure that that tether is in a good position. It's not going to slip or anything before he disconnects the lineman's rope. So the lineman's rope is the last thing to go here. So he's still got it on. He's putting weight on the tether, and he's like, yeah, that's safe. That's good and secure. I'm going to go ahead and take my lineman's rope off. So we'll take that off and go ahead and stuff it in the bag. So on one side it's tied to it. It's actually got a girth hitch that it's tied to the lineman's loop on that side. And the other side you got a carabiner. So it's quick and easy to remove. Instead of having two carabiners for your linemen's, it's only got one, so you save some weight there too. And now he's got to find a solution on how to hang his bow. So that's the next step. He's gonna have basically it's some webbing with a bunch of loops in it, so you can hang all kinds of stuff from this device. It's kind of handy. He'll hang his bag from the end of it, and that'll provide stability so it doesn't slip through where he's putting it and attaching it. He'll hang his bag from the end and then haul up his bow and put his bow on a bow clip, and he'll be ready to hunt. Another one of the big advantages of tree saddle hunting is the ability to hide behind the tree and then be able to shoot when the deer comes out. Talk for a second about carabiners. And here is your typical locking carabiner. It's a twist lock, and this is definitely the kind of beaner that you want to see. That's a carabiner that we can use in the MBRB. And these next two carabiners are self-locking carabiners. So one has a button that you push to unlock it, otherwise it's always locked. And the other one's just got a twist where it kind of does the same thing. It just locks. It's spring-loaded. It always wants to lock. You have to turn it to unlock it. As soon as you let go, it does nothing but lock. So a self-locking gate is also very acceptable, very safe carabiner to use. Here's an example of stuff we don't want to see hunters using. This is an example of a non-locking carabiner. Can't use it with the MBRB. Also aiders. Aiders are usually made out of webbing, and it's a series of loops, so we can use less of your climbing method. In this case, you can see that they're using climbing sticks, and this just is too dangerous to use because what can happen is your foot can slip away from the tree when you're in that loop and cause a fall. So we just have decided to ban any kind of aider. The other thing to look out for as coordinators is the type of saddle. So these are examples of non-hunting saddles. They're rock climbing harnesses, they're arborist harnesses, and these are very safe to work at an elevated height. I won't argue that at all, but they're not meant to hunt out of, and that's why they're banned, because it affects your shooting mechanics when you're trying to pull back your bow and aim and everything. You just can't do it as well out of these devices. And obviously a homemade type harness is definitely banned, just like we wouldn't allow a homemade tree stand to be used. So those are things to watch out for. Tree climbing spikes are also banned. Saddle hunters, in their quest to lighten things up and be more mobile, have used those. It's very popular, but they're banned in the MBRB hunts because of safety concerns and also the damage that they do to trees. So thank you all for your attention and watching this presentation. I'm sure that you have questions. Hopefully you got something out of this presentation and you know a little bit more about saddle hunting than maybe you did before this presentation. In the future, if you have any questions when you're out with your hunters and you're coordinating a hunt, I will continue to be a resource for you. At the end of this presentation, I'll provide my name, phone number. You can send me a text, pictures, call me if you have any questions. I'd love to help, and I'd love to know about any kind of concerns that you have with tree saddle hunting. The board has tasked me with coming up with this guideline and getting out this information to you as coordinators, and I'm pretty passionate about it because I love tree saddle hunting, and it's really exploding right now. I'm not the only one, so I'm sure we'll see more and more tree saddle hunters as we move forward, and the policy and the equipment, all that stuff will evolve over time, and we'll keep up with it. So again, thank you for your time and your attention and for being coordinators. The MBRB couldn't do it without you. Thanks.